In this video, I am going to go over the practice quiz for 4.4 to 4.5. So, number 1 wants us to factor completely and to show all our work. Let me go ahead and do a different kind of snip. Okay, so what I want to do is I first want to see if any of these terms have anything in common, which they do. They both are divisible by 4x cubed. 4 and 16 are divisible by 4. And my lowest exponent on the variable is a 3. So what I would do is I would write the 4x cubed out front, and then what I get left over from dividing, I would write inside of parentheses. So 4 divided by 4 gives me 1, and then x to the 5th divided by x to the 3rd gives me x squared. Negative 16x cubed divided by 4x cubed. 16 divided by 4 gives me negative 4. And the x cubes will cancel out. Notice over here I can look for what multiplies to negative 4 and gives me 0 because I don't have a middle term. That would be positive 2 and negative 2. So this would be my final answer. If I was doing this on a piece of paper, I could just take a photo and upload that photo as part of my quiz, or I could type this out and write it down in the equation editor. But this would be the answer for number 1. Okay. Number 2, again, wants me to factor and show all my work. So what I would do here is both 18 and 8 are divisible by 2, and both of them have at least x cubed as their variables. So then I'm going to take out 2x cubed. I'm going to write this over here. Then 18 divided by 2 gives me 9x squared. Negative 8 divided by 2 gives me negative 4, and the x cubes will cancel out. Notice 9 and 4 are both perfect squares, so I can choose to rewrite this as 3x squared minus 2 squared. This follows the difference of cubes pattern that is written up on the board if you're in the classroom or if you're in online. This is a squared minus b squared, and then should equal a plus b times a minus b. That's not the purple I was using. This was. Okay, so then what I would do is I'd go ahead and plug in there. So I have 2x cubed, and then it's going to be 3x plus 2 and 3x minus 2. This is my final answer. Okay. Next one on the quiz has x cubed plus 64. So for this one, it's following the sum of cubes pattern, which is at the top of this test, and it's on my board in the classroom. So I have a cubed plus b cubed, and it would equal a plus b times a squared. This should be minus ab plus b squared. So what I want to do over here is I want to figure out my cube roots of each. I know cube root of x cubed is x, but if I don't remember the cube root of 64, I can go to Desmos. And then if I type in C, B, R, and then the letter T, it'll give me the cube root symbol. And I type in 64, and it tells me this is 4. So if I go back over here, I now know this is x cubed plus 4 cubed. So I can plug in x for a and 4 for b. This is going to be x plus 4. And then x squared minus, you always write numbers in front of the letters, so it's going to be 4x plus 4 squared. Then I just want to go ahead and square out that 4, which gives me 16. This is my final answer here. Okay, this next one wants me to factor completely, and then again, show all my work. Remember, if I'm doing this on a piece of paper, I can take photos and upload. If I'm doing this on a computer, I would just want to type out all my steps. So the first step to factoring this one completely, because there's 4 terms, is I want to do it by grouping. I put my 2 groups together, and I want to look for what each group has in common. So in this group, they both have at least an x squared. And I would write that out front, and what I get left over from dividing goes inside. So 2 divided by 1 gives me 2, and I have an x left over x. 3x squared divided by 3x squared just gives me a 3. Over here, I can take out both of them can have a -1 taken out. I also want to always make my leading term positive, so. Then I want to take the outside pieces and put those together. So I have x squared minus 1, and then 2x plus 3. On this one with the exponent, I want to see if I can factor it anymore. I'm looking for something that multiplies to -1 and adds to 0 because I don't have a middle term. That would be +1 and -1. So I can split this one up. And this is my final answer here. Okay, number 5 again wants me to factor completely, and it's got 4 terms, so I'm going to use the grouping method. I'm going to put parentheses over my first set, parentheses around my second set. On my first set, I can take out an x squared. On my second set, I can take out a -100. So I'm going to have x squared, and then x minus 5 for the first one, and then -100. Because I'm taking out a -100, this just turns this into a positive x. Positive 500 divided by -100 gives me -5. I want to go ahead and write those outside pieces together. So I have x squared minus 100 in my first set, and then x minus 5 in the second. I want to see if I have anything that multiplies to -100 and adds to 0. This would be +10 and -10. And I still have that x minus 5 from before at the end. Okay. Next question wants me to find all the zeros of the function. It says I can graph it to find the zeros. So I am going to go ahead and type this into Desmos. I have f of x equals x to the 4th minus 5x cubed plus 5x squared minus, where's the plus? Nope. Plus 5x plus 6. No, that was the minus. Okay, so this is what the graph looks like. This question is asking me for the zeros of the graph, so where it is crossing the x-axis. All 4 of these points will be my answer. So if I go back over here, it's going to be -1, 0. What else was there? 1, 0, 2, 0, and 3, 0. And that would be how I get my answers here. Number 7 wants me to find all the zeros of the function. On this one, I will do it by hand. So when it says to find the zeros of the function, this is when I actually take it and set it equal to 0. So now I'm going to have, x to the 4th minus 2x squared equals 0 instead of f of x. I want to first start factoring it like normal to see if there's anything in common. Both of them can have an x squared taken out. Then I'm left with x squared minus 2 equals 0. I'm going to take each of my pieces and set those equal to 0. So I have x squared equals 0, x squared minus 2 equals 0. On the first one, I take the square root. I get x equals 0. Over here, I want to add 2 to both sides. I get x squared equals 2, and then I take the square root. Because this one is a number other than 0, when I take the square root, it's going to turn into plus and minus, and then I have square root of 2. So this and this are both my answers here.